There's an update on Dillian Whyte's injury. There was a lot of speculation that Dillian Whyte may have failed a test or some other reason was actually behind the pullout, but he turned up on TalkSport with apparent receipts. We can't know for certain whether this is Dillian Whyte's hand, but assuming it is, and I've got no reason to believe it isn't right now, then yes, that's a nasty injury, and you would have to pull out with something like that. That's a horribly cut finger, which he says was caused when a weight was rolling along the floor towards him from another person that was working out in the gym, a very large weight, and he put his hand out to stop it, and it got trapped, his finger did, between one weight and another, and that's what caused that terrible injury. Okay, so Dillian Whyte moving quickly to dispel any suspicions that the injury is a cover story for something else. Now, the interesting thing here is that his replacement, according to various reports in the media, is going to be Filip Hrgovic. Now, this is a fantastic level replacement to get a month out. And actually, as long as Filip Hrgovic is in shape, and we don't know whether he's in shape, we don't know what kind of shape he's in. He hasn't fought since the loss to Daniel Dubois, which was, I think, June last year. So he's been out a long time. We don't know what kind of shape he's in mentally nor physically. But if he's in shape, and he did post, where are we at? No, he did post this to his Instagram page where he's running in the snow. This was a few days ago, but this perhaps was after he already got the news that Dillian Whyte was injured and he was being offered the opportunity to step in and replace Dillian Whyte against Joyce. But yeah, if Filip Hrgovic is in shape, this is the point I really want to make, then I think this is actually a better fight than the Dillian Whyte fight would have been. Because although Hrgovic is coming off a defeat, in retrospect, people can see he did far better against Daniel Dubois than Anthony Joshua did, for example. Far better. Right? So that defeat doesn't look so bad now in hindsight, does it? He was actually doing very well early on in that fight against Daniel Dubois. And that's his only defeat as a professional. It's not like he's been in a bunch of slugfests and taking loads of damage like Dillian Whyte has. He's never been knocked out. Dillian Whyte's been knocked out several times. Okay, so Filip Hrgovic is a fresher guy. That's one of the reasons I think it would be a better fight. I was picking Joyce to beat Dillian Whyte, just to lay my cards on the table. Whereas with Filip Hrgovic, again, if he's in shape, and it's an if, we don't know, okay? But if he is in shape, because one thing you have to be, if you're going to fight Joyce, is in shape, because the guy's got a tremendous gas tank. So if Filip Hrgovic is in shape, this is a very interesting fight and a better fight than the Dillian Whyte fight would have been, in my opinion. Now, for those of you who are not aware, these guys have actually got history together. They fought in the WSB back in 2013. You can watch it on YouTube. It's still up. The fight went the distance. Joyce won it on a split decision on points. Okay? It was a very good scrap. And Joyce really was a very, very good amateur. Obviously, this was WSB, which is kind of like a gateway or, halfway between amateur and pro boxing. Joyce was a fantastic amateur. He beat many elite fighters. Obviously, Hrgovic in the WSB. He beat Bakary Jalalov, who's the most recent super heavyweight Olympic gold medalist, double gold medalist, right? The last two Olympics. So Joyce is really doing a lot, in the amateurs. Unfortunately, he hasn't had the same success in the pros. Will he have the same success against Filip Hrgovic, though? Will he be able to repeat his very narrow victory over Hrgovic in the WSB in the pro ranks? That's a question for you guys. There's a lot of uncertainty around where Filip Hrgovic is. And also Joyce. People feel like he's slurring his words now, and he's totally washed up, and he's got CTE, so on and so forth. Well, if he does have CTE, I don't think his speech is evidence for it in particular, personally, because, again, I was watching Joyce from his pro debut against Ian Lewison. So I saw all the Joyce interviews way back in the days, way before he was stopped by Zheli Zhang twice. And I distinctly remember interviews where he couldn't get a single word out after being asked a question. He would literally just stand there for 10, 15 seconds, unable to get a sentence out, and the interviewer would actually have to answer the question for him that the interviewer just asked him. Okay, so I don't personally see this massive deterioration in his speech that people are talking about. I suspect they maybe just didn't watch a lot of his older interviews to realize that he's always been like this, but that's just my take on it. Now, obviously, slurred speech or not, he's taken a lot of punishment in his career, and he's a guy that takes a lot of shots generally. It's not healthy for you, right? But I just don't see there's necessarily the urgency for him to retire due to the speech in particular, right? Although, that said, he has lost to Zheli Zhang twice. He's lost to Derek Chisora. That's not good form. So, going up against Filip Hrgovic, presumably the fresher man, does he have the advantage here? Many people are going to believe or suspect that he does.